So first thing is safety. And the main thing about safety is the lock. It's kind of brakes for the wheel. So when you want to start working, you have to release the brakes, and then the light here goes off. And then you are free to work and rotate the wheel as long as the way is clear in front of the knife. As soon as you're done, remember to lock the brakes for your own safety. And it's always a good habit to check for this light when it's on. That means the brakes are on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Otherwise you might cut your finger off.
Yeah, it can fall in your finger.
Yes. Oh shit. Yes.
Yes. The second important thing before you start is the orientation of the block here. Because if the block here is tilted a little bit, then you will be cutting just one side of the sample. Or if it's tilted upside down, then you will be cutting also either from underneath or from the top. For that we have these two buttons to orient the block. This one here is for horizontal orientation and this one for vertical orientation, and they both work after you release this lever here.
But you just do it by eye measurement, or is it some kind of...
It's eye measurement, so everyone is
but it's
checking.
not like 100%?
No, it's not 100%, it's just to avoid loss of tissue.
Yeah.
Because if you are trimming from one side, it will be only wax without sample, and then you are losing a lot of wax. And when you come to the sample, you have to trim and trim until you reach even plane in the sample.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So we can try that with one sample here. And the samples also, it's important before you start to keep the samples on ice and a little bit moist ice on the surface. This will help you to get good quality sections, and it makes the whole process much easier and faster. So we can put one block. To check for orientation, you need to bring the block forward from this control panel. So you have two arrows here, two sets of arrows. The one with single arrow can move the block a little bit every time you click on it, while the other one is much faster, so you have to be careful with this one. The other thing in the control panel here is the mode button. It can be trimming mode when you want to reach certain part of the sample, then you need to cut larger pieces of the sample. Like 25 or 30 microns will be okay, and if you are not happy, you can adjust it from here. It goes 5 microns every time you push the plus or minus buttons. When you do sectioning, it's normally done at 3 to 5 microns, because this is the thickness or the diameter of single cell, and when you look under the microscope, you would like to see single cell layer. For that we use 3 to 5. I prefer to keep it at 3, because normally due to change of temperature in the block, then you might get a little bit thicker section. So at 3 normally you get below 5 microns, so it's not again 100% accurate, but it's normally fine if you keep it at 3 and your sample is cool and moist. Like now this sample, maybe it warmed up a little bit, so I can put it again in the moisture. Putting the knife into the microtome, we have this part here, we have the lever which holds the knife in place, and for this part you have also to think about safety when putting the knife. For this type you can use for your fingers at the beginning to take one knife out, and you just grab it from the blunt edge, not from the sharp one. Once the knife is inside and you want just to put it in the proper position, you can use a tweezer or any metal instrument to push it inside. And then you need to tighten the lever here so the knife will not move. And if you are not cutting, you have to remember to put the knife guard if you are putting a block in or taking the block off, so you will not hurt your finger. The knife also gets blunt after several times of use, so in this machine it's divided into 3 parts. By releasing this lever you can use this part or the middle part or the far right part, and you hear a click sound every time you move this head. So we can start with the middle part and tighten here, or we can start with any part. I don't remember in the video.
Oh, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So then to check for the orientation, I need to release the brakes, bring the block closer, and here I see it's far away from the knife, so it's no problem to use the fast button. Or alternatively, you can move the whole head. I like to keep it at 2 or 2.5. And when looking from above, you can have an idea about on which direction you need to move. Another way is to cut a little bit and see where the knife goes. Here I see the knife goes on this side. That means this block has to be tilted to the opposite direction.
Okay.
A little bit more.
So actually, this is actually the difficult part.
Yeah. We have the video, so it's just about the sound.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
it is. So this will be.
So I can do a little bit.
So I will cut
Yeah.
from so I might use some part of this video and some
Okay.
part of the other one. I'll see.
Okay.
It's okay. I see now that
Yeah.
last time.
It went
It
straight.
went quite,
someone was
straight.
working here, so I
Yes.
think things are a little bit
So I
changed.
think maybe something moved a bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
looks
think
like you
it's
have it.
better now. Yeah. Yeah. Almost. This is just a training sample,
Yeah.
so I can lose some of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but the thing here is also that every time you go around one, it moves a little bit.
It moves every time you go around, you rotate the wheel, the whole block comes
Closer.
forward
Yeah.
according to the thickness that you set up in the control panel. So if it's on 3, every time you complete a full circle, the block will come forward 3 microns.
Hmm. Right.
Well, I think we can cut from this. So when it's right on plane, I need to put it back on ice because it gained a lot of temperature, so
Yeah.
it warmed up, so I need to leave it there for a couple of seconds.
Starting.
So while sectioning, you need to have a tweezer. Some people prefer to have a needle or something to grab the tissue that comes out of the knife with. But for me, I like a tweezer, especially when it's curved like this at the top. It makes it easier for me. So I check that the thickness is right, I release the brakes, and I start rotating until I get a piece of tissue on the knife that I could grab on. Once I have this, I could grab it and continue rotating while stretching a little bit.
Yeah.
And then always the sections come out of the microtome, they are a bit wavy on the surface, they don't come out straight. So to straight them out, you need to pick out the tissue, put it in warm water up to 50 degrees, but generally I prefer to use less than that, like 45 to 48 degrees. So you grab the tissue, you release it from the knife, You can take multiple tissues and then you put it on the water. And the warm water helps to stretch the sample. And by looking at it, you can see how it looks. If you have some faults on the wax and not in the tissue, that's okay. But holes, big holes, or faults in the tissue in itself have to be avoided. For example, this tissue here, it has some faults that are coming inside the tissue, but here it's coming outside of the tissue. So I could use this one. To take the sections out of the water, you can use the slide plus the brush to bring the tissue closer to the slide and fish it out. After that, you need to put it on the margin of the water bath because it's a bit warm and it will help to evaporate the water from underneath the section. So it can stay there for some minutes. Few minutes is enough, 4 to 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
And then after that, before using these sections for immunohistochemistry or for classical hematoxylin and usine staining, you need to put them in the incubator 56 to 60 degrees for at least 2 hours. For that we use this kind of rack because it keeps separating the tissues from each other when you have many of them, so they will not destroy each other. So we take the tissue and each slide has a slot in this rack and we put it in the incubator.
Yeah, okay. You can actually just actually just do it because get the.
So I just started this incubator. It is starting from 23, but it needs to get up to 56 degrees, but that takes time.
Okay, so but you wait until it's the correct temperature?
You don't have to wait until it's 56.
Okay, it's only to put it and put it in,
Yeah.
and then it will be, yeah.
It's kind of room temperature, so it doesn't matter.
No, okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
So we leave the tissue inside.
And how long do you put
We leave the tissue for 2 hours
Aha.
minimum. But if you are busy or for practical reason you are not available after 2 hours, it's okay to leave it overnight.
Oh, okay.